Gemini CLI / commands, also known as custom commands or saved prompts. Gemini CLI has several built-in commands. Just type a / in your terminal and you will see them. Let me give you an example here. Here I am running Gemini through Visual Studio Code and I go into my terminal. I've already got my Gemini up and running here, and if I were to put in /, you can see all the commands that I could run, the about, the authenticate, and so on. Okay, now custom / commands are reusable prompts that you define and you can call them directly within your Gemini CLI, and this can save you a lot of time having to type the same prompt again over and over again. Now here I have got a quick layout of my file structure here. So the folder I'm in is playground. I've got my .gemini folder, and inside there you simply make a folder called commands, and your prompts are saved inside a file which has to end in .toml. Now you can either save these inside your project folder, which I have done here, or you could save it inside your profile folder, which is where Gemini is installed. If you put it inside your profile folder, then that command will be available globally to all your projects. But if you just save it inside your project folder, as I have got here, then it will only be available to your project. So that's quite neat. Okay, so what does a command look like? A custom command look like? Let's go inside my Gemini folder. Here I've got my commands folder, and here I've got one called proofread.toml. Must end in that extension. Now, what I've got on the first two lines there are comments. A TOML file is very easy to learn. Comments, just similar to what you'd have in Python, for those of you that do Python. And to run it, all I'm going to do is /proofread plus the name of the file I want it to proofread. Okay. Then you give a description. Notice it's written in lowercase. Prompt is also written in lowercase. So you must have a description. Some people add name, but that's not part of the language. Your Gemini will completely ignore that. So you've got description, and there you simply give a description of what your prompt is going to do. In this case, my prompt is going to use the Microsoft Writing Style Guide and my AGENTS.md to proofread my article. Now, the Microsoft Writing Style Guide is something that I've installed with an MCP, and if you'd like to take use of that, please look at our earlier lesson on how to install MCPs for Gemini CLI. And you can also pass in a variable into your prompt, which is very neat indeed. So here I'm going to say open the markdown file, and then whatever file I have put immediately after /prompt is the file that it will open. So this will be replaced by the name of the file that I want it to open. Now you can pause this video here and look at the rest of this. This is simply telling it what I want it to do. It's going to proofread it. The article that is open is inside articles draft, and after it has proofread it for me, it's going to move it into the pending folder with the same file name but the _draft appended on the end of it, as you can see there. Okay. Right, so let's close this down. So you make this file, you make commands folder, which must be inside your .gemini folder, and inside there you put your command TOML file. Notice how they are written. What I have on line 5, this simply allows me to write several lines. Here I've got prompt equals 3 quote marks, and this is a multi-line, means I can have many lines within my prompt, and I end it like that. This is not a markdown file, so don't put any markdown there at all. These are comment tags, they're not markdowns. Now if you're doing this for the first time and you've got Gemini CLI open, close it down. Immediately after you've created this, quit out of Gemini and then come back in again so it will recognize it. Now I've already created this before I opened up my Gemini, so I can come back into my README file. Okay, so here I am. So let's come and run this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into View and Terminal. So here I am back in my terminal, and I'm going to put a backslash, and I simply need to put the name of my command. And you can see that it comes up, proofread. Because it is recognized as a command, when you save it inside the command folder with the extension .toml, it will come up as your command. So I want it now to proofread. Now what do I want it to proofread? Let's see, let's go into my articles, and inside my drafts, I have got working with commands.md. So this is what I want it to proofread. I've purposely made this a very small file so that you can see it, and I've purposely made sure that there's a few spelling mistakes there. Notice typing is not spelled correctly, prompt is not spelled correctly, but it should sort all that out. So now I'm going to say proofread, and I want it to proofread working with commands.md. And I've inside my prompt there, I've told you that after you proofread it, save the copy you have now generated inside my pending folder. And then what happens is that after I check it again, then I just put it into the final folder. So you've got a nice workflow here, and I don't have to type that again and again. I've simply made a command that I can use. So I hit enter to run that, and Gemini CLI gets on with its job. This shouldn't take long. It's quite a small file. You can see that it's seeing the two files I asked it to refer to. Now my AGENTS.md, what you can call a constitutional file, a file that all agents will observe and run out the commands that are the instructions that are in them and carry out the instructions that are in them. Now it's made that file for me. I'm going to accept that, clicking on that little icon there. So generating and writing content, analyzing the task, and it's finished everything there. Okay, so I'm going to close down this little prompt now. I didn't show you the agents before. Here's my agents.md. My agents.md is simply instructions that all my agents will follow and obey. Now agents.md is a relatively new file that both Gemini CLI and any other agent that you are using will obey. So it means you don't have to keep repeating the same thing in individual files. So that's what I asked it to go and read. And notice there I have put on my own very specific instructions there. You can put things about your own writing style guide here, and as well as this is also going off to use the Microsoft writing style guide, all by using simply one command. Let's see what it's created for me. So that's the only file that exists there before. Now if I go into my pending folder, now you can see it's created it for me, and that's what it's created, and here we are. So you could see how that looked before. You can see it's tidied things up. You can see that my spelling mistakes have gone, the word prompt has been made correctly, and oh yes, at the end I did ask it in my prompt to give me a summary of everything that it has done. So what happens now, I simply come here, I can delete these once I'm happy. So if I'm happy with these ones, I now move it into my finals folder, and that's it done. So here is a nice, neat way of using custom/commands. Thank you very much. If you have liked, please remember to like and subscribe. And here you can see a reference. If you want a further reference, here's a very good guide here, the Gemini CLI tutorial series, and I put a reference to it by Ramin Irani. Please go and read up that if you want more details. Please like and subscribe, and I'll post another video later. Thank you very much.